Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Olympic Oval Invitational. We have the men's 500 meter on the line, ready to begin with 22 pairs. In this first pair, on the inner, we have Antoine Roger of Quebec and Max Hollick on the outer of Alberta. Oh, and we have a fall off the start. And it's been called back. It looks like there is some damage on the ice, so they're calling over to get a repair done. When something like this happens, the athletes need to keep warm and relax and be ready for the start to begin again once the repair is complete. For the competition this weekend, we have two parts. Right now we're watching the Oval International long track speed skating competition, and at 1:30 today we begin with the World Cup selections. At 1:30 the ladies and men will do the 500 meters, and the 10,000 meters for the men begins at 2:30, and the 5,000 meter for the ladies begins at 3:35. And now the repairs are being done. We have our exceptional operations staff. They fill the hole with slush, and then they cool it off with the fire extinguisher. The referee is pointing out additional repairs that need to be done on the outer lane. The Olympic Oval operations staff is working hard to help us get the ice ready. All this week, they've been preparing the ice, shaving it, hose flooding, doing everything they can to make this the fastest ice in the world. The Olympic Oval ice is always held to a very high standard and is always done in such a way that we are able to skate fantastically fast times. And the repairs are complete, and we're ready to get the first race off the line. So we're ready to begin the men's pairs again. I'll just recap. In pair 1 here we have Antoine Roger of Quebec, and in the outer, Max Hollick of Alberta, prepared for the first pair of the 500 meters oval invitational competition. After a long break like that, it's important for the men to refocus and make sure they keep themselves warm, their legs warm and ready to begin again. And this time they call the false start. We'll have to wait to see who false started this time. And the referee holds up the red flag indicating that the outer lane has false started. Because this is the second false start of the pair, Max Hollick will be disqualified from this race. I'm sorry, that appears to be the first false start of the race, and neither skater will be disqualified. And they're off to a good start this time. Antoine Roger opens in 10.2 and Halleck in 10.7. Looking very strong on the back stretch with a minor slip going into that turn. We have Halleck on the inner and Roger coming on the outer, driving to the finish. And Roger crosses in a time of 36.67 and Halleck in 38.20. And now we'll move on to pair 2 with Jess Neufeld from Manitoba on the inner and Tyson Langelaar of Manitoba on the outer. And these guys get off to a clean start. Looking very quick off the line. We have Neufeld opening in 10.3 and Langelaar in 10.4. Langelaar competed in the Fall World Cup selections yesterday in the 5,000 meters. And it looks like he's going to win this pair coming out of the inner turn. The skaters drive to the line, and Langelaar finishes in time of 36.57 and Neufeld 36.91. In pair 3, on the inner from BC, we have Nicholas Hiller, and on the outer from Alberta, Jeff Ross. As you can see, the two skaters had a different starting style. Jeff Ross does a down start, and he crosses the line to open in a time of 9.91 and Nicholas Hiller in a 10.48. They're coming out of this first turn very close together, with Jeff Ross going over top of Nicholas Hiller, looking very strong coming into the end. And he made it, they both made it through the turn very cleanly. Ross is looking for a fast time here, and he crosses the line in 35.95, and he's very happy with that time. And Nicholas Hiller, 37.05. And Jeff Ross is now on the leaderboard with the first time ever going under 36 seconds. Congratulations, Jeff. In pair 4, just off the line, we have Mika Putila of Finland on the inner and Martin Corbett of Ontario on the outer. Putila opens in a fast time of 9.82 and Corbett 10.42. Mika Putila trains here in Calgary with the national program. Kevin Crockett is his coach. He's a mainstay on the World Cup competitions and has won several medals in the World Cup in this distance. And he crosses the line in a time of 34.54. Martin Corbett, 36.85. And he gives his coach a high five on the back stretch for a nice quick time. And coming to the line now is pair 5 with Connor Woods of Manitoba on the inner and Jonah Hurtubise from Ontario on the outer. They're also off to a clean start and looking to open somewhere in the 10-second mark. We have Connor Woods in 10.1 and Hurtubise in 10.5. There's Crispin Parkinson, Woods' coach on the back stretch. Woods does an excellent final turn. Connor Woods comes to the finish with a 35.92 and a big fist pump in the air. He's broken the 36-second mark, and he's very happy with that race. And now we have pair 6 on the line, Frank Roth of Alberta on the inner, and Simon Coutts of Manitoba on the outer. There's some movement on the line there, and the referee has whistled and called the race back. The referee is indicating that the inner lane was making the movement, and that's one false start for this pair. Frank Roth opens in 10.48 and Simon Coutts in 10.72. Looking good in this last turn. The guys are coming fast into the finish. And Simon drives to the Roth drives to line in 37.28 and Coutts in 37.92. And pair 7 is at the line now with Adrian Hannigan of Alberta on the inner and Christian Liebzeit of Manitoba on the outer. And both of these athletes train with the Olympic Oval with their Olympic Oval skin suits on. Hannigan opens in 10.34 and Liebzeit opens in 10.42. A slight hand down in the corner there, but recovered nicely. And going into the turn here, you can see this is going to be a close race coming to the finish. And Leavesy takes the pair in 36.91 and Hannigan 37.21. Next up, we have pair 8 with John Hinchuk of Manitoba and Thomas Van Dyke of Alberta. This pair is off to a good start. Very close. In the opener here, we have Hinchuk at 10.59 and Van Dyke at 10.60. Well matched in the opener. We'll see how they do in the race against each other. Solid final turn of the 500-meter race. Coming to the finish, it's Hinchuk who wins in 37.79 and Van Dyke 37.99. Next at the line, we have pair 9, Alexander Horace of Saskatchewan on the inner, and Hayden Meyer of Ontario on the outer. No problem in these starts after that first pair. Hayden Meyer opening with a time of 10.64 and Horst 11.30. Looks like a tight crossover on the back stretch, but Meyer makes it over the top. Meyer gliding out into the outer lane on the last turn. And striving for the line, he finishes in 37.78. 2 arms in the air, very happy with that time. And Horst 39.49. And in pair number 10, we have Jack Diebert from Alberta on the inner and Matthew Laxton from Ontario on the outer. Laxton opens first with a time of 10.58 and Diebert 10.93. These two men striving to the finish. And Laxton takes it with a time of 38.1 and Diebert 38.59. Next up in pair 11, we have Caleb Mueller from Alberta on the inner and Hunter Ouellette of Manitoba on the outer. There was some movement on the line, and the outer lane has been indicated as false starting. And they're back to the line for the second attempt. This time the start is clean, although Ouellette on the outer had a couple slips, but he's recovered well. Very close at the opener. Mueller 10.66 and Ouellette 10.73. Oh, another slip for Ouellette. He's having a bit of trouble on the backstretch. But a strong final turn for both of the men. Mueller crosses first with a time of 38.42 and Ouellette 39.17. In pair number 12 of 22, we have Tyler Hartleb on the inner from Alberta. And unfortunately, Hamish Black has scratched from this race, so Tyler will be racing by himself. And he gets across cleanly from the line. And Hartleb opens in 10.86 with a quick first turn. Encouraged by his coach, Mike Ireland, on the backstretch. He races hard to the finish with a final time of 38.66. In pair 13, we have Oliver Scharf from Ontario on the inner and Caleb Hovey of Ontario on the outer. A false start in this race. Some movement was seen in the outer lane, and the assistant starter shows the red flag. The men now have one more chance for a clean start. And they're off clean. Couple slips on the outer from Caleb Hovey, unfortunately. Scharf opens in 10.79 and Hovey 11.68. Some smooth skating by Scharf. And his final time as he crosses the line is 38.88 and Hovey with a 40.73. Next up in pair 14, we have Sam Pollock of Alberta on the inner and Oliver Lindenskov of Denmark on the outer. This race has been called back as well, and the assistant starter indicates that it's the outer lane that was moving. They will have one more chance at a clean start. And they do it. They're off well. Sam Pollock comes to the 100-meter opener with a 10.82 and Lindenskov with 11.5. Pollock looks very determined in his face. A little slip there. but a strong final turn. Pollock crosses the line with a final time of 38.62 and Lindenskov a 40.22. Pair 15 is on the line with Eric Orlovsky from BC on the inner and Joshua Hathaway of Alberta on the outer. And they're off for this 100-meter opener. Clocking in at 10.70 for Orlovsky and Hathaway 11.36. Looking good coming to the finish. Orlovsky quickening to the line with a 38.49 and Hathaway 40.32. In pair 16 of 21, we have Gibson Himboldt of Ontario on the inner and Noah Bouma of Ontario in the outer. Very obvious false start by the inner lane, with the white flag indicating that he indeed had the false start. And that was a good start for both of these men. Very determined for that 100-meter time. Himboldt. And unfortunately, the timing system is not working at this point. Luckily, we always have hand timers prepared to take the time for our competitors. And Himboldt does a 38.12 and a 40.03 for Bouma. And to the line now, we have pair 17, Dawson O'Brien of Alberta on the inner, and Jesse Uribe Isaiah from BC on the outer. This pair gets off clean. Racing down this 100-meter opener, Uribe Isaiah does a 10.94 and O'Brien a 10.99. O'Brien looking strong in this turn. Doing his best to the line. O'Brien crosses in 39.62 and Uribe Isaiah in 41.82. Next up in pair 18, we have Rob Cunning of Alberta, and Matthew Sketchings of Saskatchewan in the outer. No false start in this race. And at the 100-meter opener, we have Cunning with 11.08 and Sketchings 11.26. Unfortunately, had a huge slip going into that turn. It looks like he dumped quite a bit of speed. Rob Cunning is still in a good race, doing well in his turns, and Sketchings is coasting it in. Cunning finishes with a final time of 40.75 and Sketchings with 43.23 with that big slip. Next up in pair 19 of 21, we have Ian Dwyer of Alberta and Zain Syed Ahmed of Alberta in the outer. Nice reaction by Ahmed on the outer. Working really hard for that fast 100-meter opener time. Dwyer gets it in 11.38 and Ahmed in 11.49. Is Justin Warsalewicz, a former Olympian and national program athlete with Canada. Is now coaching with the Olympic Oval. Unfortunately, Ahmed had a big slip in that turn, but he seems to have recovered well. And it's a race to the finish for this pair. Too close to call. Dwyer, 42.06, and Ahmed, 42.08. And in pair 20, we have Aj Seddon of Manitoba on the inner, and Caden Witkowski from Alberta on the outer. Another good start by these men. Oh! And Seddon falls. But he's gotten back up and he's still going. So we have Witkowski with an 11.68 and Seddon with that huge slip, 13.56. He was actually down on his knees, but he's gotten back up and he's right back in the race. Seddon moving to the inner and, Witkowski to the inner and Seddon on the outer. And Witkowski crosses first, 43.14, and Seddon, 44.2, with a fall off the line. The referees are ensuring that the ice is in good condition after that fall. Unfortunately, there was a small hole in the ice, which the operations team is now fixing, filling with slush, making sure it's smooth, and then freezing it with the fire extinguisher. The holes appear to be quite extensive, and the operations team is working hard to make sure that the next pair has clean ice to work with. And the starter calls the next pair to the line. In this pair, number 21, we have Scott Anderson of Alberta on the inner and Donnie Hrinick of Alberta on the outer. These two men are off to a good start. And Hrinick takes the opener in a time of 13.1 and Anderson 13.4. Hrinick is a great supporter of speed skating, as well as being an athlete. He works with the organizing committee for the He's working currently with the organizing committee for the World Cup that will be taking place December 1 to 3 here at the Olympic Oval. We encourage everyone who's watching to come out, buy tickets, come see the fastest skaters in the world before they head off to the Olympic Games. Donnie finishes in 47.92 and Anderson in 49.62. And in pair 22, we have the final skater of the 500 meters. Mark Golden of Alberta is on the inner, skating solo. Golden's off the line cleanly. Here's the bell for a lap to go. And finishes the opener in 10.85. Oh, with a little slip and a hand down at the apex of that turn. Seems to have recovered well and is working hard down the backstretch. He moves from the inner lane to the outer lane for the last turn of this 500-meter race. Working as hard as he can to the finish. He shoots the line and does a 38.85. Now the men have completed, and you have the leaderboard on the screen there. Mika Putila of Finland in first with a 34.54. Connor Woods in second in Manitoba of 35.92. And Jeff Ross in third with that new personal best time of 35.95. Races will take a break and resume at 1:30 this afternoon with the World Cup selections. The races will resume at 10:45 with the Oval International, ladies 3,000 meters, followed by the men's 5,000 meters. I'm Carrie Dankers signing off. Thanks for joining us this morning for the men and women's 500-meter Oval Invitational competition.